Gopal ko, Krishna Kirtana Ganana Tana Paro, Premamritam Vanidhi, Takvato Namase Samannalapati Saning, Sadatu Chava Bhuttvadina Ganesha Karunaya Kopina Kanthasitau Takvatu Namase Samannalapati Saning Sadatu Chava Bhuttvadina Ganesha Karunaya Kopina Kanthasito Gopi Bhavarasamrita Bhilahari Kallola Magnomoho Bande Rupa Sanatana Raghunjagan Sri Bhagopalako Krishna Kirtana Kanana Tana Paro Premamritam Vanidhi Krishna Kirtana Kanana Tana Paro Premamritam.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and welcome everyone to the Saturday morning Bhagavad-gītā As It Is reading and discussion from the unadulterated, unedited books of Srila Prabhupada, being presented by the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. And had a very interesting realization yesterday on my journey from Yotepec to Mexico City and then back to Hamilton, Canada here, that there are so many living entities in this world that we are very insignificant. Just in terms of human population, there's over 4.5 billion people, and they are all struggling to survive in this material world. So we are very fortunate of all the living entities that reside on this planet to have the opportunity to serve the pure devotee spiritual master A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. This is an extremely auspicious life that we have been given. And the association of the pure devotee is something that's very rare. And that's why when you hear us constantly explaining the philosophy of Guru Tattva to others, it's because we're stressing this valuable treasure that we have, and we want to share it with others. Yes. This is the business of the Prabhupada disciple, is to serve his spiritual master without motivation, without adulteration, without personal ambition. For example, we perform this service of sadhana bhakti for everyone without any salary. I put a post up on the Prabhupada Disciples Association, and if you go to our Facebook page, if you happen to be in the Facebook world or social media world, you'll see that we constantly maintain this site, this group page, and we get over a million views of our posts per year, 1 million. And it is appearing that people are very receptive to the information that we're delivering because it's the truth. Yes, it's the truth. And I put up a post about the salaries that someone had posted, and I copied and added a few explanations about the current ISKCON situation where everybody works for a salary, and people were questioning, oh, are you sure? And I got a notice from one of our godbrothers that in England, the total salaries that they pay out in the year to operate the British Yatra is £2 million of salaries. So it's far beyond what we thought, what it was, and people were questioning, well, I'm not sure. Well, that's because you don't know. You're affected by the deep state of confusion that the ISKCON movement has propagated for the last 50 years. And this is an unfortunate situation, and we're working as a society, the Hare Krishna Society, and we've been registered since 2002, and maintain the charitable status. And by the way, if you want to donate to the society, please go ahead and do it. Don't be shy. We don't take an administration fee. We don't take salaries. We don't deduct expenses. And all the money that we collect is being used for propagating Krishna consciousness, specifically nowadays for the publishing of Prabhupada's books, the printing of them on a small scale, and for our membership, and because a lot of people cherish the original books without adulteration, very much so. And so please subscribe as well to our YouTube channel, the Hare Krishna Society. Please do it, and recommend your friends do the same thing if they want to get some authentic information about Guru Tattva and the Vani incarnation of Srila Prabhupada that we propagate every week in our programs. And it's not that we're repeating the same thing. We're reading from the scriptures where Prabhupada is constantly teaching us these principles of spiritual life that some people don't understand. They think Vapu is more important than Vani. This is absolutely wrong. Vani is the essence. And when more that you read the books, the more you can appreciate them. And we're blessed, and I feel very blessed personally, that I've been a devotee since 1970. So that's, 70, 30, 54 years. And I'm still on the journey to become Krishna conscious by the practice of this process of discipline. You have to have discipline if you want to make any advancement in spiritual life. For example, your rounds. Everybody has to chant their rounds. So we have a great service, all of us, a great opportunity to serve and to please the spiritual master. That is really the essence of this philosophy. And when people start to figure it out and jump on board with us, they're going to find themselves feeling a lot more bliss in their life. And attending these classes, very good. You come, and we appreciate the team of people that are behind the scenes here, helping us to maintain these broadcasts. It's been a rough road the last little while, but we've added one of our godbrothers, Ram Raghava, who Yaśodā knows from the Gurukula days in Vrindavan. And he's a engineer and a doctor, and he's going to jump on board with our team. And if anybody in our group knows how to do video or is expert in the internet and technology, please get a hold of me. We're always looking for people to step up and be a part of it. We don't have all the skills that some of the young people do, but we can certainly use your help in propagating our mission of our campaign of information to dissipate the darkness of illusion that's been created by the ISKCON deep state. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming to the classes and being part of this. And yesterday I had a good chance to read. And I came across a wonderful section in Nectar of Devotion, and I wanted to share it this morning with you. It's the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, or Bhagavad-gītā, and it's in the 12th chapter, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, chapter 12, the revealed scriptures. And Prabhupada's stressing this point, and Prabhupada's essays, explanation of the Nectar of Devotion is a really deep insight for us. He's translating the book and giving us a clarification of what to understand from Rupa Goswami. And Yaśodā-nandana made a very interesting point on Thursday, which has really captivated my mind. And it's a fact that if you're hearing Nectar of Devotion from Srila Prabhupada, you're actually associating with Rupa Goswami. Amazing, eh? You're associating with one of the greatest Vaishnavas in the history of mankind. So this Vani incarnation, this repetition of the truth from the pure devotees of the Lord, is a great blessing to everyone. And we're going to read this section. And I'm going to highlight just quickly as we go through some of the key points. And we're at recitation of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, it's on page 124 in my edition. Let me see. No, keep going. Recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Thank you. Let me see. Recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. I see the subheadings aren't in this edition that you're dealing with. There it is. Srimad Bhagavatam is the desire tree of Vedic wisdom. Veda itself means the aggregate of knowledge. And whatever knowledge is required for human society is perfectly presented in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There are different branches of knowledge in the Vedic writings, including sociology, politics, medicine, and military art. All these and other branches of knowledge are perfectly described in the Vedas. So, as far as spiritual knowledge is concerned, that is also perfectly described there. And Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the ripened fruit of this desire-fulfilling tree of the Vedas. A tree is honored by the production of its fruits. For example, a mango tree is considered very valuable because it produces the king of all fruits, the mango. When the mango fruit becomes ripened, it is the greatest gift of the tree. And Srimad Bhagavatam is similarly held to be the ripened fruit of the Vedic tree. And as ripened fruit becomes more relishable when first touched by the beak of a parrot or a suka, so Srimad Bhagavatam has become more relishable by being delivered through the transcendental mouth of Shukadeva Goswami. Srimad Bhagavatam should be received in disciplic succession without any breakage. When a ripened fruit comes from the upper part of the tree onto the ground by the process of being handed down from a higher branch to a lower branch by the persons in the tree, the fruit does not break. Srimad Bhagavatam, when received in the parampara system or disciplic succession, will likewise remain unbroken. Now, in the ISKCON group, this fruit of the Vedic knowledge has been broken by these bogus gurus. Such knowledge must come down through the disciplic succession through authorized persons who know the real purpose of the Shastra, not profit, adoration, and distinction, which is the motivation of these people. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended that one learn Srimad Bhagavatam from the mouth of the self-realized person called Bhagavatam. Bhagavat means in relation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. So the devotee is sometimes called Bhagavatam. And the book which is in relationship with devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also called Bhagavatam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended that in order to relish the real taste of Srimad Bhagavatam, one should take instruction from the person Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is relishable even by a liberated person. It was admitted by Shukadeva Goswami that although he was liberated from within the very womb of his mother, it was only after relishing Srimad Bhagavatam that he became a great devotee. Thus, one who is desirous of advancing in Krishna consciousness should relish the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam through the discussions of authorized devotees. And that's why in our group, we're the Prabhupada Disciples Association. This acronym is very important and carefully selected by us to identify our position in this world. We are Prabhupada disciples in association with each other. There's no concoction here. Some people minimize that. Oh, PDA. Try to understand what it is. It's the Prabhupada Disciples Association. We're focused, and we're making new devotees. We're having an initiation on the, I believe it was on the 8th. Like, what's the date? And where 3 new people in Mexico were initiated as Prabhupada disciples. And I just sent a message to Kishori, Krishna Kishore, congratulating him on his wonderful service in Mexico, on maintaining this proper understanding of the disciplic succession. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 1st chapter, 9th verse, Shukadeva Goswami admits that although he was very much attached by the impersonal Brahman, when he heard the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from his mouth, Vyasadeva, he became more attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam. The idea was it was also a self-realized soul, and his mature contribution and transcendental knowledge was delivered to Shukadeva Goswami in the matter indicated. The importance of discussing Srimad Bhagavatam in the society of devotees. Don't be an island unto yourself, everybody. That's a mistake. Prabhupada wanted us to come together and enjoy this transcendental subject matter as a group, not individuals. Although everybody is individually in a position to think what they want or do what they want, when you actually surrender and decide to commit to a society of devotees like the Hare Krishna Society, Prabhupada Disciples Association, then you can make a real advancement. The importance of discussing Srimad Bhagavatam in a society is explained by Shanaka Muni during the meeting at Namasharanya in the presence of Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami confirmed that if someone is fortunate enough to associate with a pure devotee of the Lord, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, even for a moment, that particular moment is so valuable that even those pious activities which can promote one to the heavenly planets or give liberation from material miseries cannot compare with it. In other words, those who are attached to Srimad Bhagavatam do not care of any kind of benefit from elevation to the higher planetary kingdoms or for liberation, which is conceived of by the impersonalists. As such, the association of a pure devotee, of pure devotees, is so transcendently valuable that no kind of material happiness can compare with it. In the Hari Bhakti Sudadaya, there is a conversation between Prahlad Maharaj and his father Hiranyakashipu, in which Hiranyakashipu addresses Prahlad in that way. My dear son, association is very important. It acts like a crystal stone, which will reflect anything which is put before it. Similarly, if we associate with the flower-like devotees of the Lord, and our hearts are crystal clear, then certainly the same action will be there. Another example given in this connection is that if a man is potent and if a woman is not diseased, then by their conjugation there will be conception. In the same way, if the recipient of spiritual knowledge and the deliverer of spiritual knowledge are sincere and bona fide, and when we speak about bona fide, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda in his Vani incarnation, there will be good results. So rejoice, everybody. All glories to the Sankirtan movement and the teachings of Rupa Goswami presented by Srila Prabhupada in the Nectar of Devotion. We'll move forward with the reading of the Bhagavad-gītā and the discussion led by a wonderful devotee, one of really my best friend in the world is Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. He is such a wonderful example of dedication to Srila Prabhupada, and we're very blessed to have him lead us in these discussions every day, every week. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Haribol.
Sai.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava सदस्यमान भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, after offering respectful obeisances, 1. To the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4. To Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. This discussion is based upon the original, non-edited, non-interpolated, and non-adulterated original edition, the 1972 Macmillan edition of Bhagavad-gītā. And it should be noted that all synonyms, translations, and purports are from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Before we start the recitation of the verses that Srila Prabhupada himself personally introduced in New York in the early part of 1966, I just want to point out an important point. Somebody pointed out, why are you reciting a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam in the readings of the Bhagavad-gītā and Chaitanya Charitamrita? Well, for one thing, Srila Prabhupada introduced that verse for the Srimad Bhagavatam classes, but the Bhagavad-gītā itself is found originally in the Mahabharata, and in the Mahabharata it begins with that specific verse. That specific verse is also found in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself in Canto 1, Chapter 2, text number 4. So it's important to pay proper respects in the format that has been given by our great Purva-acharyas, or our former predecessor acharyas. So we will proceed with the recitation of these verses. We invite everybody to participate at home, and we will go forward. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagunara Gunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaguna Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita-Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Can somebody put the next screen up, please? Tapta Kanchana Gourangi. Next one. Tapta Kanchana Gourangi. Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. Vrishabhanu Sute Devi. Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu. You are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I want to make a few comments before we start here. As I'm looking at the screen here, I see that Vishwakarma behind him is a wonderful picture of Lord Narasimha. Mother Rochisa Devi in Montreal, Canada, Srila Prabhupada smiling upon all the participants. Pier Angelo in Switzerland as little baby Krishna, smiling, and then Nilsham in Florida as Lord Krishna and Arjuna, right there, very appropriate for the Bhagavad-gītā reading, right behind him. So it's another one, Michael Dillon, I believe, is a picture of Krishna. Krishna Katha is still trying to find his Bhagavatams to put them up on the screen, but that's going to come eventually. But thank you very much for this wonderful display. It's a good reminder of the transcendental nourishment that Srila Prabhupada has given to everybody by introducing all of this transcendental nectar, which is reflected on the screen. We will proceed with our reading of Bhagavad-gītā today. We are reading from chapter 12, text number 3 and 4. Ye tvaksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achityam cha kutascham achalam dhruvam sanyamyendriyagamam sarvatra samabuddhayaha te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite rataha. Ye, those to but aksharam, which is beyond the perception of the senses, adirdeshyam, indefinite, avyaktam, unmanifested, paryupasate, completely engages, sarvatragam, all-pervading, achintyam, inconceivable, cha, also, kutashtam, in the center, achalam, immovable, dhruvam, fixed, saniyamya, controlling, indriyagramam, all the senses, sarvatra, everywhere, samabuddhayaha, equally disposed, te, they, prapnuvanti, achieve, mam, unto me, eva, certainly, sarvabhutahite, all living entities, welfare, rataha, engaged. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such person engaged in the welfare of all, at last achieve me. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Those who do not directly worship the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Godhead Krishna, but who attempt to achieve the same goal by an indirect process, also ultimately achieve the supreme goal, Sri Krishna, as is stated. After many births, the man of wisdom seeks refuge in me, knowing Vasudeva is all. When a person comes full knowledge after many births, he surrenders unto Lord Krishna. If one approaches the Godhead by the method mentioned in this verse, he has to control the senses, render service to everyone, engage in the welfare of all beings. It is inferred that one has to approach Lord Krishna. Otherwise, there is no perfect realization. Often there is much penance involved before one fully surrenders unto him. In order to perceive the supersoul within the individual soul, one has to cease the sensual activities of seeing, hearing, tasting, working, etc. Then one comes to understand that the Supreme Soul is present everywhere. Realizing this, one envies no living entity. He sees no difference between man and animal because he sees soul only, not the outer covering. But for the common man, this method of impersonal realization is very difficult. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur-militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine. Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad-vandanam khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataham Adadana-strinam Dhanteridam Yachi Punah Punah Srimadrupapadam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Shatakaromi Swam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This particular verse in this section of Bhagavad-gītā is very important to understand the clear difference between the impersonalist and the personalist, between the Vaishnavas and the Advaitins, or impersonal monist. It is very essential to understand that the path of impersonal pursuit is very troublesome, very difficult. But Srila Prabhupada mentions in this purport very nicely, when we see here what he says, after many births, Prabhupada says, those who do not directly worship the Supreme Godhead Krishna, but who attempt to achieve the same goal by an indirect process, also ultimately achieve the supreme goal, Sri Krishna. As is stated, after many births, the man of wisdom seeks refuge in me, knowing Vasudeva is all. Now, in the text itself of Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 7, text 19, it's just very important that Krishna says, Samahatma Sudurlabhaha, that such a great soul is very rare. Now, it's very interesting, in the beginning of all the deliberations that were taking place after Srila Prabhupada's departure in 1977, one very clever person saw, well, since Prabhupada's disciples are all very rare and are all Mahatmas because they're taking shelter of Vasudeva, therefore it's quite acceptable that some of us are on that level of being, Paramamsas or Uttamadhikaris. Well, it's an interesting logic. And as very nicely Prabhupada mentioned many times in various conversations and various exchange with different professors and different critics of the movement, that people who are engaged in chanting and preaching the message of Krishna are great Mahatmas, are great souls, and there's no doubt about that. Just like Srila Prabhupada one time wrote a letter to one of his managerial officers saying all Vaishnava are authorities, but there are different degrees of authorities. There are different levels. So therefore, it's very important to understand very clearly these various purports that Prabhupada is giving so that we can get a very clear understanding of the different levels of bhakti. Because bhakti is not cheap. It is not something cheap. To achieve pure bhakti, or pure, what Prabhupada called pure, unalloyed, loving devotion, is not cheap. How many times have we heard Prabhupada in his books, especially in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, give so many warnings to different devotees and different sadhakas, to his disciples and students and followers and sympathizers, about the path of bhakti and the pitfalls and the warnings what to avoid. We've often discussed as part of these readings and discussion how a devotee should not engage in gambling. It was explained to me in 1969 in Montreal by a very nice devotee, Sripati, that gambling also involves mental speculation, or concocting or manufacturing different interpretations that are not given or explained by Srila Prabhupada. And how many times have we seen this? We've seen this so many different times, especially on various important issues about disciplic succession, initiation, instructing spiritual master, initiating spiritual master, different, numerous related instructions which Srila Prabhupada has given. Many times people say, oh, what you people are proposing is not in a tradition. And my first reply is, tradition according to whom? Where do we get our information about bhakti tradition? From our guru, Srila Prabhupada, the Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, the actual Acharya of the Krishna Consciousness movement. Just this morning, while preparing for this class, I went to the PrabhupadaBooks.com website, and I was locating the various prayers that we recite every time we have a Bhagavad-gītā class. Again, those prayers are not my personal choice. They were Srila Prabhupada's introduction. Because sometimes people say, well, why do you keep repeating that every week? Because Prabhupada did. That was given by Srila Prabhupada. Those mantras, those shlokas, besides being very sacred and potent, are even especially potent in that way that Prabhupada assembled them, because he gave them to all of his followers. He gave them for all of his student and disciple, those who are interested and have making a vow to follow the discipline given by Srila Prabhupada should very carefully learn this, every word there. So when I looked in that website, there was a very interesting posting on top of the prayers. It says, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, the Founder-Ācārya of ISKCON and greatest exponent of Krishna consciousness in the world. Now that's very interesting, because we have seen since 1977 various persons who are persons with a poor fund of knowledge and understanding, and even a poorer sense of realization, trying to put themselves as Prabhupada's successors on the basis that, well, excuse me, we were with Prabhupada. We were on morning walks with him. We directly physically associated with him. We got so many letters from him. Some of us were chosen as his managerial appointees. Some of us were GBCs or temple presidents or this or that. Therefore, we know better than all of you rank and file devotees. Oh, really? Really? Well, let's read again, because this point has not been understood by some people. I assume that everybody in this group correctly understands this point. That's why they seem to be very eager to hear the message of Bhagavad-gītā and Bhagavatam. Again, this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 18, text 99. And Prabhupada says at the end of this purport, this incident at Kaliya Daha is very instructive for those eager to advance in Krishna consciousness. Well, what is the purport? This is very important. Madhya Lila, chapter 18, text 99. Chapter 18, text 99. Srila Prabhupada said, the puzzled people who visited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were actually seeing Lord Krishna, but they were mistaken in thinking that Lord Krishna had come to Kaliya Lake. They all said that they had seen Krishna directly. Oh, thank you, Rupesh Prabhu. They all said that they had seen Krishna directly performing his pastimes on the hood of the serpent Kaliya, and that the jewels on Kaliya's hoods were blazing brilliantly. Because they were speculating with their imperfect knowledge, they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an ordinary human being and a boatman-like in the lake as Krishna. One must see things as they are through the mercy of a spiritual master. Otherwise, if one tries to see Krishna directly, He may mistake an ordinary man for Krishna or Krishna for an ordinary man. Everyone has to see Krishna according to the verdict of Vedic literatures presented by the self-realized spiritual master. A sincere person is able to see Krishna through the transparent via medium of Sri Gurudeva, the spiritual master, unless one is enlightened by the knowledge given by the spiritual master. He cannot see things as they are, even though he remains constantly with the spiritual master. This incident at Kalyadaha is very instructive for those eager to advance in Krishna consciousness. Now, many of you, if you're familiar with various postings on the internet, and if you have read various essays and articles on these various issues we are discussing, obviously know that there's different levels of understanding of Srila Prabhupada's instruction. We often discuss this point about Vani and Vapu. And some people have concluded, erroneously, that their Vapu is more important than Srila Prabhupada's Vani, that associating with their Vapu is more important than listening to Srila Prabhupada. One such person in Florida, a very elderly devotee, made a comment once that people cannot understand Prabhupada's purport unless they get instruction and commentary from a senior devotee. Oh, really? Prabhupada has become so mysterious, his language has become so unclear that they have to go through you to understand what he says? No. It's pretty clear. It's very clear. And I want to refer back to the point where Vishwakarma Prabhu was raising originally in the beginning of his brief speech about Rupa Goswami's association. Again, this is from a lecture by Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan on October 2nd, 1972, on the Nectar of Devotion. October 20th, not 2nd, 20th, 1972. Let me read the text, because this is very important for those people who think that their commentary is so essential to understand Prabhupada's clear direction. Prabhupada does not need any commentary from anybody to understand. No one should speculate on Prabhupada's statements. They are very clear. Prabhupada said, but in this life, if we develop Krishna consciousness by association of devotees, as Narottam Das Thakur has sung, Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas, one's aim of life should be to serve the Acharyas. Acharya Upasanam. So our Acharya in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, the Sri Rup Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha, Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha, the 6 Goswamis, and if we associate with them, this book, Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, if you read regularly, try to understand, this means you are associating with Srila Rupa Goswami directly. And if you act accordingly, then you are serving their lotus feet. Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas. And unless you are associated with devotees, you will not be able to understand the import of the writings of Srila Rupa Goswami. Now, this is a series of very important statements, because we see that some people have got a wrong understanding of Prabhupada's order with regards to initiation, and they keep insisting, oh, no, we were there. We know what Prabhupada really meant, what he really intended. Prabhupada did not intend to remain the guru for the new devotees. No one has ever done that before. Oh, really? How is that? How is Prabhupada telling us that you can associate directly with Rupa Goswami, who departed more than 450 years ago, and he's making this statement in 1972? How is Prabhupada stating in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam in one purport that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is directly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya all over the world through his bona fide disciples? Well, wait a minute. How is he preaching in 1974 since he departed in 1936? That's because these people are on the material bodily platform, the Vapu platform. They have not yet began to understand the difference between Vani and Vapu, but they think they understand, except they refuse to accept, they stubbornly refuse to accept Prabhupada's instructions, and they concoct and manufactured interpretations which were not intended by Srila Prabhupada. They reject Srila Prabhupada's clear instructions with initiation, specifically his final order with initiations on July 9, 1977. They had some other idea. Why? Why is it that they do not understand and cannot understand, besides being stocked on a Vapuvad platform? Enviousness of the Acharya, which leads to mental speculation. Prabhupada one time made a statement in one conversation. You cannot argue that, sir, you've told me this before. Why you're telling me this now? Prabhupada said, that is not surrender. Surrender means that you have to accept the spiritual master's instruction without speculation, without false interpretation. It's interesting, almost every person who quotes this little line, disciple of my disciple, conveniently forgets the 3 words before, when I order. And when we repeatedly ask them the question and challenge them, well, when did Prabhupada specifically order any of his disciples? In 1977, as Diksha Guru or successor Acharyas, the silence is deafening. Thank you very much. To whom it may concern. Hare Krishna.
Yes, it concerns all of us. All the Prabhupada disciples that are following in the disciplic succession. And I wanted to go back to the Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu as well, to the verse and purport today, text 3 and 4, and highlight a specific sentence that Prabhupada mentions in his purport. If one approaches the Godhead by the method mentioned in this verse, he has to control the senses, render service to everyone, and engage in the welfare of all beings. Now, Prabhupada taught us that the highest welfare work that you can render to someone is to give them Krishna consciousness. And nowadays, people, I saw a recent video of people engaged in food distribution. And this, of course, goes on in India quite elaborately. And they constantly distribute prasadam, so-called. I don't know how they're offering it or who they're offering it to and what they're doing, but they take great, this Bashu Ghosh, he takes great pride in sitting behind the table and handing out puris. Okay. So you're feeding kids. They have this Akshaya Patra program in South India, which is spread all over India. They distribute millions of plates of food. It's a very honorable activity. There's no question about it. But is that our business, is to engage in feeding people? Well, the fact of the matter is that we are not vegetarians, we are Krishnatarians. And our business is to distribute prasadam, properly offered to Srila Prabhupada and then distributed to others. I wanted to, so this welfare work that goes on, opening up hospitals, Radhanath has gone ahead and done that. And so-called Gurukulas, Gopal has done that, like this type of welfare work to attract donations. There's actually a way to get money. One of the easiest ways to get a donation when you go on the street is to tell people, I'm helping kids. And then they come out and they give a donation. Oh, you're feeding kids. Okay, I'll donate. Not, here's a book on spiritual life, how you can make advancement. Would you give a donation? No, but I'll give a kid. I'll give money to feed kids. So it's a way of engaging in collecting money. It's a leverage. So that's common. I wanted to read about welfare work. We're going to go to the 5th chapter, 25th verse of Karma Yoga, Action, and Krishna Consciousness, and get a better understanding of what real welfare work is. And text 25, one who is beyond duality and doubt, whose mind is engaged within, who is always busy working for the welfare of all sentient beings, and who is free from all sins, achieves liberation in the Supreme. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Only a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness can be said to be engaged in welfare work for all living entities. When a person is actually in knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, then when he acts in that spirit, he acts for everyone. The sufferings of humanity are due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and the supreme friend. Therefore, to act to revive this consciousness within the entire human society is the highest welfare work. That's our business. One cannot be engaged in first-class welfare work without being liberated in the Supreme. A Krishna-conscious person has no doubt about the supremacy of Krishna. He has no doubt because he is completely freed from all sins. This is the state of divine love. A person engaged only in ministering to the physical welfare of human society cannot factually help anyone. And anybody that's in the guru position that directs people like that is misleading them. Temporary relief of the external body and the mind is not satisfactory. The real cause of one's difficulties in the hard struggle for life may be found in one's forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme. When a man is fully conscious of his relationship with Krishna, he is actually a liberated soul, although he may be in the material tabernacle. So this is a proper understanding of welfare work. And the work that we're doing is the highest welfare work. Be reassured of that. And everybody can step up to the table and do their best to help us in propagating the truth to other people. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further explain.
Now, we've dealt with that very important point that you're raising. And again, this is not a personal attack against any group or any individual person, but there have been many compromise of the preaching approach that Prabhupada introduced. When Srila Prabhupada started ISKCON, he was asked, why don't you call it the International Society for God Consciousness? And then Prabhupada didn't want that. He called it, no, we have to call it Krishna Consciousness. He insisted. And I saw a conversation recently where Prabhupada said, but then if you call it God Consciousness, they will bring in so many concoctions. This God, this person, that person. But Krishna Consciousness eliminates any misunderstanding. Now, it's very important because there are numerous conversations and statements by Srila Prabhupada about philanthropic work, charitable work, opening hospitals, schools, feeding. But the process of bhakti is not on the karma. These are all on the karma kanda platform. There's a clear difference between Shuddha Bhakti or pure Bhakti and Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda may involve some devotional principles, but it's done with the idea of getting some material benefit. Whereas pure Bhakti is done purely for the satisfaction of Krishna and the bona fide Acharya. It's important to understand the difference, because then people will say, well, we're using it for Krishna. I had a conversation with one of these people in Buffalo, New York in 1981, when Vishwakarma and Nandikeshwar from Montreal came to visit me, and one of the GBCs at that time came to visit me. And I protested, why are you distributing rock and roll records to people? What will be the benefit of this kind of approach? He says, oh, you don't know what's going on because we're using the money for Krishna. I said, no. I said, Prabhupada wrote a letter in 1974 to Hamsaduta not to distribute his records because people will misunderstand. He said, distribute the books. This is right there in black and white in Prabhupada's instruction. But he refused because it was an issue of money making. It was an issue. It's easier to give people a rock and roll record to ask them for a donation rather than preach from a book from Prabhupada. So this idea of charitable work and all of these are compromises. Prabhupada used to often criticize the Mayavadis that they've come down from the Brahman platform to open hospitals and schools. He criticized them from that. He characterized that as a fall down from their level. So if devotees neglect the distribution of Prabhupada's original books and engage in all these welfare activities against the instruction of Prabhupada, now, I'm not going to argue it may be a good public relations program, but it's not Prabhupada's pure preaching program. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, and I think, Prabhu, you explained so nicely how people, they twist the philosophy to justify everything they do. And this type of manipulation of the philosophy for personal gain, let's say, is common nowadays. There was a Keith Ham, this Kirtananda Swami, so-called pedophile, back in the 70s, Nilesh. And actually it was quite insidious how he carried on his cult-like activities and misled people. He was constantly trying to destroy all the other temples in his zone. He destroyed Buffalo. He took this Tirtha, who was from Buffalo, and took him to New Vrindavan, who eventually, he confused him to the point that this fellow went and murdered Sulochan. Yeah, it was insidious. Manipulation of words. And this is what's going on. That people take the philosophy. Gopal Krishna was like that. Rest his soul, he's gone. But he did a lot of damage to the disciplic succession by his lack of understanding of the philosophy. And as a result, if you read his will, you'll see how confused he was. I'm not going to get into it right now, but the fact of the matter is people twist the philosophy for their own reasons. And this idea of welfare work, where they go ahead and say, oh, well, you have to help people, is a manipulation of people for material success. This is a transcendental science, Nilesh, based on the principle, the highest principle of yoga, which is to hear the philosophy, and then not only do you hear it, you act. I've talked to my son this morning. I said a lot of people, they talk the walk. They talk the walk. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I do this, I know this, I'm so smart. But they never act. They talk the walk. They pretend. Devotee walks the talk. That's how you act. That's how you perform devotional service, like Jayananda. He got liberated because he walked the talk. He set the example by surrender. He gave all his money to Srila Prabhupada. He got an inheritance from his parents. He gave it all. Didn't hold back. He gave everything he had to Srila Prabhupada. And he didn't want anything back. When he was in New York at the Rath Yatra in 1976, when Donald Trump, by the way, gave the use of his property for the construction of the Rath Yatra carts. That's a fact. Some people deny it. I was in New York when it happened. And let's say if you render direct service to Srila Prabhupada like he did, he's eternally benefited. No matter how many mistakes we all make in life, you still get the mercy of doing direct, and he did direct service for Prabhupada, who was at that Rath Yatra festival in 1976. This was in the last days of Jayananda's appearance with us. So, Krishna consciousness, the real welfare work is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And these people that misconstrue the philosophy, like Radhanath, for example, yeah, he has. I keep on referring to this Mayavadi book he wrote. Look at it. This thing is a sin. This is a sin. You read this. This is misleading people completely off the path of devotional service. The example today was the mango tree. You pass the mango, I was reading that in Nectar of Devotion. The way you pass the mango down from the top of the tree is you carefully handle it from one person to another till it reaches the bottom and you can take the fruit undamaged. I had that experience in Kinshasa, Africa. We had a mango tree at where our condo was, and this person got up on the top of the tree and he carefully brought it down. You don't take the mango and throw it on the ground. That's not how you do it. That'll damage the fruit, the king of fruit. So you don't take the disciplic succession and just reinvent it, misconstrue it, and then play games like people do. We're just, unfortunately, in a situation that this kind of abuse of the truth has been propagated by these 11 original initiating spiritual masters who are all fraudulent completely. We've exposed it. Oh yeah, it's exposed. There's no question of it. They're in denial, and that's not a river in Africa. They're in denial, Nilesh. They're pretending that they can. I've put out that challenge for people, I'm just playing with it, Nilesh. Social media is a vehicle to communicate to millions of people. Yes, it is. And we're trying with our group to expand our influence, but we're doing the best we can with what we've got. But the distortion of the truth is going on at a high level with these people. And we have to be careful with it. We're going to get Dharma Bhavana to give us a few comments, and then we'll go to you, Nilesh, with your question. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas, please, if you could give us a few insights. Can you get the mic? Is it working? No. Rupesh, put it on. Dharma
Okay,
Bhavana.
okay, I think I got it. Thank
Okay.
you, Hare Krishna.
Your hand there.
Yeah, thank you. Very nice class. Yeah, I'm just kind of reflecting upon how the general statement is for devotees that we can associate with Srila Prabhupada, read the books, associate with devotees, and learn Krishna consciousness, teach also. But one should not be duplicitous. One should not be deceptive. And I was just thinking to myself recently how the Bhagavad-gītā edits and changes. It doesn't show on the front of the book. It seemed like if devotees were proud of this, they would show the name of the editor and also how many paintings or photos are taken out or missing. But it's just no information about that practically at all. I was just recently in India. I saw this book. It's like a big, thick Bhagavad-gītā with a hardcover, and it was in Karnataka language, Kannada. And there was only about 11 or 12 pictures in it. But in the original Bhagavad-gītā, there was, I don't know, 40 plus pictures, a lot of pictures. And to me, those pictures help us to understand a lot what is being spoken about. And I'm sorry if this has already been covered a whole lot, but why is the editor's name not shown on the front? Why is it not explained with all the different evidences why the editing is necessary?
Yaśodā, maybe you could comment on that, please.
Well, again, this is not a very important point which has been raised. Why should we take out the pictures and the statements that were approved by Srila Prabhupada? One cannot take this out. There was a book that's been printed, a little booklet that's been published by Girardi in the Philippines, which shows exactly all the paintings that have been taken out of the original Bhagavad-gītā and so many other statements that were taken out of Bhagavad-gītā. Now, it's important to understand that all of these changes are very dangerous, actually. Srila Prabhupada did not authorize any disciple to change his books and mutilate, take the pictures, do this, do that. This is not authorized. That revised Bhagavad-gītā is not authorized. And anybody who distributes it, preaches from it, is not authorized. No acharyas in the history of Vaishnavism have changed the word of the original acharya of their sampradaya. In this movement, they have no respect, no common sense. Very dangerous tendency, very dangerous tendency. Hare Krishna.
I see that Rupesh has put up a wonderful letter from Srila Prabhupada in regards to welfare work. Actually, this world is like a hospital. We all are like sons of a rich man running mad in the streets. Our Father, Krishna, or God, is the wealthiest father, and we are all his sons gone mad. Someone is thinking, oh, give him food, that will help, or give him a house or clothes, this or that. But the madness is still there. So this kind of bodily welfare work will not help. The world is supposed to be a place for curing men of their variety of diseases or madness and sending them back home like a hospital. But men have now got the mistaken idea to make a permanent settlement in this madhouse. So this is a letter to Balavanta from Calcutta on the 18th of February, 1972. There's this misrepresentation of our philosophy by these people that are claiming to be preachers is a great sin against our disciplic succession and a distortion of the reality of our philosophy. Neela Shama in Miami or wherever, in Florida somewhere. Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Very important points which I was trying to kind of imbibe from today's discussion. Talking about the Bhagavad-gītā, I'd like to share something which I pulled up on the internet. If you look at your screens, this is the Hindi version, which they call it, if you look at it, as Srimad Bhagavad-gītā Yatha Rupa. Yatha Rupa means as it is. Now, if you notice, they are putting up Srila Prabhupada's pictures. They have changed the pictures, but they want to portray it as if this is being done by Srila Prabhupada himself. And they are marrying into their own philosophy into this. And if it is Yatha Rupa, meaning as it is, then it should be all over as it is. It should not be any changes or anything. Then don't call it Yatha Rupa. Don't call it as it is. Because that translation also is wrong. You can look it up in the translation also, what does Yatha Rupa mean? And this way you can kind of cross-check. So if you want to portray your own philosophy, go ahead and portray your philosophy, but don't piggyback it on saying that this is Srila Prabhupada's philosophy, which is not. And that is what irks the real disciples of Srila Prabhupada. You see? So you got to understand the unique position of Srila Prabhupada and why during his lifetime, he insisted that no changes need to be done. You know, it is since 1977 that these systematic changes have been done, and now the newer generation doesn't even know about it. And that is the problem where these points have to be raised and re-raised again to remind us that the path of devotional service is a very narrow path. It is as narrow as the edge of a sword. It is said that it is as narrow as an edge of a sword. So if you deviate slightly, you're not going to reach your destination. And this is where it is very important. And if you look at all the teachings of Prabhupada, Prabhupada has given us a very concentrated elixir of instructions. You know, in the beginning of the class, Prabhu was talking about, gambling. You know, if you notice, what are the 4 pillars of religion? And what are the 4 regulative principles which Prabhupada has told us? And what is it that marries these 2 things together? This is very, very critical because Prabhupada gives us one instruction, and when we follow that instruction, several other things associated with devotional service is also satisfied. Remember, the 4 pillars of dharma are what? Saucham, Satyam, Tapa, and Daya. Saucham, cleanliness. Satyam, truthfulness. Tapa, penance. And Daya, compassion. No meat eating. Why no meat eating? Because if you continue to eat meat and try to do devotional service, where will you have compassion? The compassionate heart in you will die off if you were to continue to eat meat eating. That's why Prabhupada says, stop eating meat. Why? So the compassion in your heart, which is a normal resident of you, which is you, the spirit soul, will come up. Then no intoxication. Can you do tapas or penance with intoxication? You cannot do that. Satyam, truthfulness. We all have gone to places of gambling. Example, any casino. We have all gone to Vegas or we have gone to some kind of a casino. There's a very famous casino here in South Florida called Hard Rock Cafe, which belongs to the Indian reservation. So they have built a very big casino over there. What is the first thing which you notice when you enter into a casino? It is full of cameras. Why? Because people have a tendency to cheat when you are involved with gambling. So how can Satyam, how can you be truthful if you continue to gamble? And of course, if you involve yourself in illicit relationships, how can you maintain cleanliness? Cleanliness not only of the body, but cleanliness of the mind, cleanliness of your thoughts. So these 2 things, and if you notice, is that everything is so concentrated that any kind of dilution or any kind of changes of Prabhupada's instructions is going to deviate us clearly. You see, it is going to deviate us, you know. Now, the mention what with Vishwakarma lastly was about Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to a ripened fruit. Now, why is it called a ripened fruit? I refuse to accept even when Srila Prabhupada says, because I want to know, why is he calling the ripened fruit? Has anybody given it a thought? Why is Srimad Bhagavatam called the ripened fruit? Remember, the answer lies in the Bhagavad-gītā itself. What does Krishna say in chapter 15, verse 15? Vedaicha sarver aham eva vedyam. In the books of knowledge, the Vedas, what is the real truth to be known? What is the real knowledge to be known? Vedaicha sarver, of all the Vedas, aham, me, evam, only to be known. So that is why when Vyasadeva, that is why Prabhupada gives in the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam, how did this Bhagavatam come about? Vyasadeva was very, very perturbed even after transliterating everything. Why? Because in this age of Kali, we are going to have so many problems, number one. Like if you notice right around us, right now, if you look at the socio-political aspects, like right now, the President of the United States just pardoned his son. Now, is this the example which we are looking for in our own personal lives? You see, if we have leaders like that who are going to, absolve people who are culprit just because they are my kinsmen, just like how Arjuna says, how can I kill them? Here, Krishna is telling not to only punish them, but to kill them. Now, are we going to be in that position to follow dharma? Look at Biden. He's so old. He's ready to almost transmigrate to another body. But he does not want to hold on to the principles of religion, but he wants to hold on to his kinsmen. This is the essence which we need to know. So who do we want to follow? Do we want to follow people who are very much involved in this material life where they want to just accumulate a lot of wealth, a lot of adoration, a lot of distinction? Or do you want to follow somebody who is very truthful, just like Srila Prabhupada? Srila Prabhupada circumambulated the globe 12 times in 11 years. Show me one picture, one place where Prabhupada must have gone to go for sightseeing. Like I'm in Paris, I want to go and see the Eiffel Tower. Or I'm in Hawaii, I want to go and see the Waikiki beach and I want to enjoy in the oceans. You will find plenty of pictures of the fake gurus doing so many things like this. But Prabhupada was only focused on one thing. What is that? Krishna consciousness. Why? Because the pleasure which he got in Krishna consciousness was far more than any material pleasures. So be very careful who you want to follow, why you want to follow. And of course, most of us, especially the youngsters, we are grown up in the age where we buy fruits and vegetables from grocery stores. We don't know what it is to pluck from a real tree, because everything is hydroponically grown. So look at Vishwakarma Prabhu. He's mentioning about a place where he saw a mango tree in his backyard in South Africa. And when you taste the fruit which is really ripened on the tree, not in transit to your grocery store, not in different stages of ripeness, but when it is ripened on the tree, it is so delicate and so wonderful, just like avocados. There are so many types of avocados. But why is the Haas avocado made so prominent? You know the reason? Look in one of the documentaries on Netflix. The Haas avocado has a very rough skin. So when it is transported, it does not get damaged. While the smooth skin avocados is very delicate, especially when it becomes ripe. So Srimad Bhagavatam is this ripened fruit where Vyasadeva has concentrated only about teaching us about Krishna and Krishna consciousness and devotion to Krishna consciousness. So it is such a ripened fruit which has to be handled very delicately, and no changes have to be done if you want to reach the final destination. I would love Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu to opine on this or critique on this comments.
Yes, we'll call on him to wrap up the program. But you're right, the material world is a very contaminated place. And we thank you for that explanation. We are aware.
One more thing.
Through the practice of Krishna consciousness, the state of affairs that we're in. And the solution is to make sure that we're focused in our own efforts in the Hare Krishna Society and the Prabhupada Disciples Association to work together to make a difference. Prabhupada wanted us to do this, Prabhu, work together. And we're going to do that. We're going to carry on. We have, and I'll let you comment here after Yaśodā speaks, but we do encourage people to donate to the Hare Krishna Society for our work. Again, I wanted to mention, we do not take a salary for anything we do. We don't charge expenses for our travel, nothing. All the money will be used for printing and distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. And this is the highest welfare work, everyone. So if you have some Lakshmi, get a hold of us. You can put it in the Hare Krishna Society charitable organization, and it'll be used intelligently. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please, if you could comment.
I just want to say that these various points that Neil Shyama Prabhu brought up are very, very important. And I like his very sharp analysis and insights. And also that beautiful picture of Krishna and Arjuna behind you. That's very nice. I just want to read from a letter from Srila Prabhupada, a few excerpts. It's a letter from Prabhupada to Bali Mardan on September 30th, 1972. September 30th, 1972. Srila Prabhupada said, regarding the question you have raised about traveling Sankirtan parties and selling of books, yes, we want money. So that is the real preaching, selling books. Who can speak better than the books? At least whoever buys, he will look over. If you have to sell books, do it by hook or by crook. The real preaching is selling books. You should know the tactic how to sell without irritating. What your lecture will do for 3 minutes, but if he reads one page, his life may be turned. Another place Prabhupada says, but if he buys a book, that is the real successful preaching. Then there's another conversation with Srila Prabhupada in Australia, in Perth, Australia, with Amoga. And Amoga says, Srila Prabhupada, when people in the street hear Krishna's name, this is in Perth, Australia, on May 9th, 1975. May 9th, 1975. Amoga, Srila Prabhupada, when people in the street hear Krishna's name, the chanting, or they get some literature, does that mean they will not take birth as an animal? Prabhupada, no, they'll get birth in a good family. Suchinam srimatam gehe. If they simply appreciate it is very nice, then in the next life, human life is guaranteed in a very nice family. Simply if he appreciates, yes, it is very nice, that's all. Then he'll get another chance. Amoga, many people think the pictures are very nice. Prabhupada, anything they say nice, that means it is guaranteed next life. Or even in this life, it will definitely help. As soon as he reads some pages, then it is guaranteed. Those who are inquiring, that means they are liking, their life is guaranteed. Amoga, one man who joined us about Ratha Yatra last year was a solicitor. That's the name for a lawyer in the British system. He used to buy our books, but he never read them. But he would keep them on his bookshelf, and he used to always think, those are such beautiful books. He used to think like that. Prabhupada, this is appreciation. Amoga, he never got time to read it. Prabhupada, it doesn't matter. If he keeps the books with appreciation, that makes his life insured. He immediately becomes in touch with God. Who keeps the books with reverence and love, immediately he becomes in touch with God, because these books are representatives of God. That's assuming you get an original book. If you get a revised book or an adulterated book, that's something else. Just like if you get milk, if it's milk with urine or some chalk or some sand, that's something else. So that's a very important conversation with Srila Prabhupada for those who've got the brain to understand it. I know all of you do. Thank you very much, Vishwakarma, Neil Shyama, for your wonderful comments. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Okay, we're going to move to the end of the program. It's 11:38 here in Hamilton. Did you have one more comment, Prabhu, briefly? Nilesh? Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just trying to
I don't
make
want
one
to
last
cut you
comment.
off.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The last comment on the Akshaya Patra. Remember, is that Prabhupada used to say is that when you distribute Krishna-infected food, you will Krishnaize the person. The distribution of prasadam. So Akshaya Patra is actually a program for free meals. It is not something like Govinda's, which has been just started by the other group in the heart of Mathura. There was a huge inauguration and everything. Now, whether you're getting even prasadam, that's a separate story. But here, it is given to the public schools in India to the children. And many times it is in the rural areas where these children come from such difficult backgrounds that they don't even get 2 square meals a day. And in order to kind of sustain themselves, a lot of them are pulled away and used as daily wage laborers on farmlands and stuff. So when the free meals were started, it was like an incentive for the parents to say, like, at least you go and attend school, at least you'll get 1 square meal a day, which I can't provide to you. And in the process, they get education as well. So it is a very good philanthropic work, but it is in line with Prabhupada's instructions, which is distributing Krishna Prasadam. And that is why there were some very many state governments who had pushed them to distribute eggs and other things. And Akshaya Patra Foundation had clearly said no. So it is a philanthropic work, but disguised, it's Krishna conscious work, but disguised as a philanthropic. Hare Krishna.
Well, it's a point of discussion, that's for sure. And remember that the main thing
I would
is
encourage you
for
to,
us.
I would encourage
Well,
you
just 1 second. The main thing is we are the surgeons. Okay, that's our job. You know, I've had 3 or 4 restaurants and blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you one thing. The giving of Krishna conscious knowledge, according to Prabhupada's teachings, is the highest welfare work. And that's our business. In this operating room, Nilesh Shama, that's what we do. It's just like my surgeon, when he took the cancer out of my urinary bladder, he was focused on that and he did it successfully. So in the same way, that's our main focus, is to give the truth, not this other business, this altruistic work. Okay, people can do that. There's no harm in that. And it is a pious work that they're doing, but the real welfare work is the deliverance of transcendental knowledge from the lips of the pure devotee, unchanged. Don't change anything. Yaśodā, your last comment?
Again, this is a topic that we can discuss in more detail at some other time, but
yes,
we can move on towards the end of the program. Hare Krishna.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nilesh. We'll. By the way, we'll take up the discussion tomorrow at our Srimad Bhagavatam class in the morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here. And thank you, everyone, for being a part of our program and participating, whether you're speaking or listening. It's the same. We're all together in this transcendental atmosphere of Srila Prabhupada's message of truth without any adulteration. We're going to move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna, this kirtan that's been put together with Srila Prabhupada chanting. Please chant along with us and enjoy this section of the program. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in his lively program. We invite everybody to come back tomorrow for Srimad Bhagavatam class at 7 o'clock a.m. corresponding to 10 o'clock a.m. Hamilton, Ontario time and Florida time. And thanks everybody for your comments, your participation, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama